Hey all, welcome to Circle of Town. And today we have another one. Vinnie from Pantera died yesterday, and tragic, tragic news again. I don't know what really to say. I haven't prepared this video, but I just figured out I'd talk about Pantera and their effect on me and my interactions with the man himself, Vinnie Paul. It was almost like walking into a poster from Kerrang or Metal Hammer or one of the old magazines from back in the day, because he is what they portrayed. I was in the bar of the Hilton in Anaheim, and he was at the bar as well. It was at my first ever NAM, so it was my first night there. So the first thing I do is go to the bar, and there is Vinnie Paul with his bodyguard. And I'm like, he gets this all the time. People going up to him, oh my God, you changed my life. You're the man. He gets it all the time. So I was like, do I want to go up to him? And I was at the bar, and he kind of noticed me hovering type of thing and then all of a sudden I was talking to him. And he's just the nicest, most genuine guy. And I offered to buy him a drink, and he offered to buy me a drink. And it was like, wow. I don't know what's going on with. It's probably partially the lifestyle of the metal musician from the 90s and the 80s, because there seems to be. I'm not sure what the percentage is. Like Piggy from Voivod, you have Chuck from Death, you have Tim Calvert recently passed. You have all these luminaries from the thrash. I know Pantera like groove metal, but from that era, there seems to be some sort of link with the lifestyle. Maybe it's the headbanging, the stress on the heart, the stress of being in a band, the alcoholism, the drugs and the rest of it. It takes its toll, and apparently, in your 50s, it's there seems to be a bit of a spike in that. And I know Chuck was probably not in that category because he died so young, but who knows? Headbanging and the extreme pressure of your voice, does it cause any complications with the brain? Who knows? Mosh pits. But in Wales, we tend to not mope too much about people that you love, even though you've never met them. It's or you don't really know them, but it impacts you. When somebody passes away, like Peter Steele and people like that. Well, it's like almost like a friend, a real friend dying. So what we do in Wales, we have gallows humor. We tend to just laugh and remember the person, and keep on talking about them, that type of thing. So I want to tell you my Pantera story, just to lighten my mood and hopefully yours. I saw Pantera at the peak of their powers. We're talking Bald era, Al Semno, Phil. I go there, and they are opening for Megadeth. So Megadeth, Marty Friedman era Megadeth, with Menzer on drums, the dream team. It's so Megadeth and Pantera. And Pantera came on, the place exploded. There wasn't enough room in the mosh pit. We was moshing in the aisles. So the entire place was moshing, and it was fucking crazy. But I'm like, I need to get up there. And back in those days, you wanted to get a pic of the guitarist, and I saw all the pics lined up on his mic stand. It was an instant time back then. There was no worries about getting shot on stage and shit like that. It was in the 90s, and so I fucking kill people going through the pit. You know how hard it is to get in the front row of a Pantera concert? I didn't fuck around. I played rugby. I fucking knock bitches up in the air to get into the front. And by bitches, I mean men. Sausage fest in Pantera. As much as the media would like you to think that there's hot Kelly Bundys everywhere, it's like fucking 0.2% of women. So you gotta run the gauntlet, get through the mosh pit, get through the front row, push myself up onto stage. I get up. I see I'm fucking on stage now with Pantera. And then I realize I gotta get off, so what you gotta do is stage dive. You know, it's part of the thing. I fail to get a pick. I like wave to the band and all the rest of it and give them a thumbs up, and then stage dive. I clear. Back then the barriers were kind of wide, so I did myself proud. Launched myself off something. I think it was a monitor, and I cleared the security, and my legs just hit the barrier, and then the security, about 5 of them, grabbed my legs and pulled me over. So I was struggling now with the security, because you know you get good security where they kind of help you out and they put you to the side, and these were like, they'd never seen anything like Pantera come through to their. They were playing in some sort of like I think it was like a leisure centre or something. It was a big venue, but so now I'm struggling with bouncers, and the band are like playing and the rest of it, and it's all like getting a bit surreal. And I am so fucking tanked up, right? And I've always been kind of like good back then. I was always kind of, you know, strong and the rest of it. So I'm like throwing these bouncers off me. They finally like they do the prison thing where two grab my legs and two grab my upper body. So they're dragging me out down the side. All this by the time the band's playing. So they, instead of like getting my ass kicked, they just fucking threw me out the side door and say, you know, don't come back type of thing. But back then you had stamps on your arms. So they stamp it and it's like one of those blue light things so that you can see that you've been in. So I dust myself off. I'm full of fucking adrenaline and the rest of it and alcohol. I tidy myself up. I look worse for wear and so the rest of it. So I go around to the front and there's a woman there, you know, doing the tickets. And I say, I need to get back in because the bouncers let me out because it was getting really hot and I felt like I was going to be sick. And I was almost sick, but I wasn't sick. So is it okay if I come back in? So yeah, so I go back in, giving it the old sweet talk. And then I'm like, it's kind of on the. I want to get back in the pit so bad, but I know they'll all recognize me. So then I just watch, and that thing. Most of the gigs that I went to back in the day were a blur because you're in the pit, and when your favorite song comes on, you kind of. It's hard to explain, but it's almost like being in a fight where something kicks off and the adrenaline is there, and you don't remember much of it. It just happens, and all of a sudden, you know, it's done. Because I was holding back, I got to see Pantera, actually watch them. And I couldn't fucking believe how good they were. Talk about sounding like the album. And the funny thing is, I listened to the tapes a while back, and it's direct to the board type of thing, so it sounds like ass. But when you're there through the PA, that's why music and tone chasing is so hard, because, you know, he used solid state stuff back then, and in the room, through the PA and through the speakers, it sounds awesome. But when direct and you don't have the speaker interaction, it didn't sound that good when I was listening to it afterwards. It sounds amazing, it's Pantera, but you know, it didn't sound as perfect when I was there. And it had such a profound effect on me. And it was one of those moments where I started thinking about tone more because of that band. And it's kind of funny because a lot of people claim that it's bad tone, you know, scooped and big bottom end and the rest of it, and fizzy on top. But that's one of the little seeds that were planted in me, and it's cost me a little bit of money since. That's the effect I'm talking about, where, you know, the world needs rock stars, and we've lost a rock star, another one, you know, Dime and now his brother, and it's just tragic. And I think we have to start thinking about the effect that good music has on bands. You know, a lot of bands now, metal bands, are pretty. It has more of a coffee shop vibe than a Spit and Sodas vibe, and there's a cost to being one of the greats. You know, there's all sorts of maybe rock is too filled up with nice, sensible, intelligent guys. I mean, Phil, you know, he's a personality. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? It's like he would not be allowed to have a YouTube channel properly if he was himself back in the day, you know, because he would say things which would go against the family-friendly guidelines. There's not enough assholes in metal today, in my opinion. So it's part of the genius. You know, the personality. You get difficult upbringings. You release it in your music. I don't. It's part of what made them great. You know, I wouldn't say, oh, because of the lifestyle, don't headbang and don't drink, because then you'll start having comfortable, nice music to go with it. You know, so it's a, are you in or are you not in type of thing. You when you're into that lifestyle, it's don't fake it, just do it. And God, Vinnie Paul, what a life he's had. You know, I believe he owned a strip bar, and or he was involved with one, and you know, it's the first time I saw him, you know, he was in good shape. This was about 10 years ago or so. Well, maybe not that, 8 years ago, and he was in actually good shape. He wasn't as big as he can get sometimes. But the second time I saw him, was it this year? I believe it was this year. I did see him in January, and it was one of those moments where I wouldn't go up to him because he was in another hotel, and he was messed up. He was drunk. So, and he was sitting on a couch again with with the bouncer, and I didn't go up to him that time because I knew he was out of it. But that's it, man. He lived the life, and he loved it. He stood by his guns as well when it came to, you know, reforming and the rest of it. He didn't want to cheapen the name Pantera, and I respect him for that. You know, because there was word of Zach and the rest of it doing Dime's parts, and if there's anyone that could do it, it would be Zach, because, you know, they were thick as thieves. They were like brothers. So, you know, I wouldn't have been that if they'd done it. I wouldn't have been. But I understand. It's complex when you're talking about something as you know, I don't know, it's multifaceted music and attitude and lifestyle and not lying, you know, being the black tooth grin, you know, that was a real thing. The you know, the Crown, was it Crown and Coke, I think it was. And to have had a drink with him and just to spend 5 minutes of just pleasant, he's like, I know, you know, he's being polite and the rest of it, but he had a smile on his face, and he was genuine. And what can I say? We've lost another one, and one of the most perfect. He reminds me of Mensa from Megadeth. He had that atomic clock thing going on, you know. So to mention another drummer, I don't know. It's sad, but yeah, like I wanna think of the fond memories that I had when I met him, and jumping off his stage, and just getting into wild, crazy times, the stuff that that you get up to. And yeah, so that's it. Very sad. You know, it's, what can I say? That's it. So if you have any stories about Pantera, share them in the comments. Let's remember him. You know, not all doom and gloom, but with I'm going to raise a glass to him right now and get messed up. I've had a few already, and I was going to do a video as soon as I found out, but I was kind of in a dark place then. You know how it goes. All right, chaps, have a good one. I've been Owen. You've been awesome. Circle Tom.